Hey there guys, welcome back. Today I want to cover one of the brand new Edges of Eternity commander, Ragost, the Deft Gastronaut. What a weird name. Actually like a lobster, like straight up space bugs now. So we're 2 mana in red and white, we're a 2/2 with artifacts you control are foods in addition to the other types, and they gain the food ability to pay 2, sack him, and gain 3 life. In addition, he has pay 1, tap him, sack any food, doesn't have to be the token, and he deals 3 damage to each opponent. And at the beginning of each end step, if you've gained life this turn, untap him. So he can either serve up good healthy food for you, gain some life, or he can give everyone the tainted food, which is made from metal and rocks and other god knows what, and they take 3 damage. A weird wacky commander, bit of fun like red-white artifact sacrificing and looping, and the important part is he does the damage. It's not they lose, he deals the damage, so giving like lifelink or infect is a pretty good way to go. So Apothecary White is a really good lieutenant to the deck. She just has whenever you attack, you create a food token for each player being attacked, but you can pay 1 white, tap her, and tap any number of foods you control. Not food tokens, just foods. Remember, your commander makes all artifacts food, and you create that many white human tokens. So you can make an army out of nowhere very quick with her. Then we've got the 3 little chefs in the kitchen. We've got Goblin Welder, Goblin Engineer, and Treasure Nabber. Goblin Welder, you can pick an artifact in play and then an artifact in the graveyard, swap them around, gives you a lot more value of your like high-end artifacts or recursion. Goblin Engineer, kind of a similar thing, tutors for an artifact but throws into the graveyard, then you can sack an artifact and return a small artifact with CMC 3 or less back to the battlefield. So again, you're getting kind of like mana rock utility pieces. Then there's Treasure Nabber, the best one by far. Whenever our opponent taps an artifact for mana, we gain control of it to end of turn, and we untap it. You can then use that mana rock for mana to sacrifice it to your commander, and they lose 3 life. So you can steal the mana rocks and just eat them. Kind of win cons built into the deck in addition. Hellkite Tyrant, every time it attacks, you can just steal all artifacts from your opponents, and you can then start sacking them under your commander. Good way to go. Having 20 artifacts to win the game is also very easy in this commander. Fiery Emancipation. If a permanent you control deals damage, triple it. Your commander can do 9 damage to each opponent. That will speed up the game very quick. Aether Flux Reservoir, just paying 50 to deal 50 is very doable. We have a lot of life gain. Then we have the Lattice with the Dark Steel Forge combo, which is always a staple, mainly just for the Lattice. Then we can sack any permanents for our commander, or we can just kind of feed along. But if everything's an artifact, having the Forge is pretty good because it makes it harder for your opponent to wreck your board. Now he deals the damage. So Grafted Exoskeleton, giving your commander infect on a pinging based commander. Every time you activate your commander, everyone will take 3 poison counters. They are 30% dead out the gate. Does work with Fiery Emancipation, getting them up to 9 poison counters. It is disgusting, you might lose friends, but hey. But giving your commander lifelink is really good because he hits all players at the same time, and that would be a possibly 9 life gain per activation. So any form of lifelink is great, it will give you a huge buffer, you can kind of just, take the damage and not really care. So the Collar, the Staff of Hermes, all give our commander lifelink. The Staff does give our commander indestructible and prevent damage if you have 30 more, pretty good. Where Sheltered by Ghost and Philadar Umbra give our commander a layer of protection and lifelink, and Sheltered by Ghost is also like a pseudo removal. It's a really broken piece of equipment. Then you've got the Runes of Sustenance, you can put on a creature or the equipment itself, either way your commander will get lifelink. But then we have Spirit Link and Spirit Loop, which aren't lifelink, so they double up, because they just whenever you deal damage you gain that much life. So if you have them with any lifelink, you can gain 18 life per activation through your commander. Then we have a little bit of untap to abuse our commander. The Stone, just pay 1 untap a creature, easy. The Sting the Glinting Dagger, that's starting to see a lot more play in commander decks. Every time we go to combat, we can untap our commander and do it again. And 1000 Year Elixir can just untap our commander as well. Alright, let the little space bug cook. Nuka-Cola Vending Machine can just create food tokens, which I love, but you can gain treasure tokens every time you sack a food. Pretty good value with our commander right there. Then we've got Astrid Peth. She enters or attacks, you create a food token, but every time you sack a clue or food, again not tokens, just food, her commander makes all artifacts food, you can explore, so you can start digging through your library real quick. We've got the Academy Manufacturer. Every time we create a clue, food or treasure token, you create 1 of each. That is good value in a deck like this, of course, a lot more artifacts to eat. Underworld Cookbook, just ditch your card, create a food token, doing that all day long. Then there's Ugin's Nexus, a bit silly in this commander. It does prevent people getting extra turns, but if it goes into your graveyard from the battlefield, you get an extra turn. Just eat it with your commander. Then you got the Spine of Ishtar, which is just a removal, and when it goes into the graveyard, it goes back to the owner's hand. You can keep recurring with your commander. Then you got the Familiar and the Mender, which are just both gain life and draw cards on entry and death. Then we've got Sad Robot, getting to get an extra land of our deck and drawing a card is nice. And then we have things like these little trinkets here. When they enter or go to the graveyard of some form, they replace themselves through card draw, or they might gain us some life. But they are food for our commander, so we can fly through our deck and still damage our opponents. So like the Wellsprings here, the Lembas, which are little cookies, your Implements or Nutrient Block. They're just cheap little mana trinkets that you can sack later. Kind of supporting cards for the deck, the Reckless Fireweaver. Every time an artifact enters under our control, he will just ping everyone. Really good when you have multiple copies of Lifelink you can spare, because your commander might already have Lifelink, so put it on him and then start pinging everyone with all your tokens entering the board. Then you've got the little Hive here, he just creates a constant artifact we can sack each turn. Then you've got the Stride, Hanger Automaton, I always want to say Hangback Walker. Every time we create an artifact token, you get a Thopter token addition, it's just more fodder and creatures to block with. Then you've got the Wander Glyph, which makes gnomes every turn. The brand new Weapons Manufacturer is pretty cool. If a non-token artifact comes into play, you get to make a Munitions, which is when it leaves the battlefield, ping for 2 damage. Eat them with the commander, start shocking things. One of my favourite stupid commanders is Togo, the Goblin Weaponsmith, Magician's Brick if you will. He just creates rocks, which you can equip the things in, sack to do more damage, or just eat the rocks with the commander, because that's a thing. Of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit is just a good way to get more food tokens, and it does create a couple of tokens at the end. And then you got Transmutation Font, which you can sack a token, clue, or a food to go into for any artifact and cheat it into play. Really good with things like Darksteel Forge or Lattice, but it can just create tokens too. Then we've got the brand new Guided by Light, the Gaffer, the Well of Lost Dreams. It's just some extra card draw on the deck based on life gain. And Mithril Coat and Lightning Greaves protect our commander. Into removal, I do just have Farewell and Wrath of God as my board wipes. I love the Aether Grid. You can just tap 2 artifacts to ping anything for 1 damage. We have a lot of artifacts in this deck, so you can start tapping and just pinging all the little creatures you don't want to deal with. Darksteel Mutation will lock down opponent's commander, always a good idea. And I've got Path to Exile, Swords, and Stroke of Midnight as my point removal. For ramp, land tax, we have a very basic mana base in this deck, so land tax does pretty good. Smothering Tithe, I know it's a game changer and it's kind of pricey, but whenever someone draws a card, if they don't pay the 2, we get a treasure token, which is an artifact we do care about, so we can ramp or would be fodder for our commander. The Seal is a mana rock as well, but we can untap our commander with it. Victory Chimes, it's here because it untaps on each other player's untap step, and it will produce 1 mana. Our commander's ability costs 1 mana to activate, so hopefully you can always activate your commander during your opponent's turn. Then Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman, just, generic stuff. But Cloud Keys here, just naming artifact to make our artifacts cheaper to play. For lands, again, very basic mana department. The only things I want to mention be Inventor's Fair, which is a land that can eventually tutor you an artifact from your deck. Buried Ruin can return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Fountain Port, you can pay 2 to sack a token to draw a card. That's a pretty good deal. Witch's Clinic is a way to give you commander lifelink, so if you've lost your equipment or whatever, pay 2 mana, then ping everyone. And the War Room is just also draw in the land slot. And that is the Gastronaut. What a weird little commander. It's cheap, it comes out pretty easy, it plays with a lot of janks, it's not too expensive to build. Mind you, if you put Smothering Tide and other game changers, gets up there. Cool concept, turning all artifacts into food and then damaging the opponents by sacking and cooking it up. If there's any effects that say whenever this creature does damage based in red and white, definitely consider it for a commander like this, such as Infect or Lifelink. Yeah, odd but potential. Alright, thank you for watching guys. There is a brand new Kavu I want to cover from this set that gives all red and artifacts warp. That'll be really good to cover. Alright, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a like, help the channel out a lot. Consider subbing. We are going for now 6k because we beat our target 5, and thank you to my patrons for your support. I cannot thank you enough. I think that's it. Alright, see ya.
On the one hand, gold. On the other hand, painful, agonizing failure.